My name is Devitt and I'm working with Northern Trust in Limerick. I'm a business manager / divisional manager there for the last 6 years, and prior to that I was working in the asset management industry in Dublin. So I'm from Galway and I've always wanted to move home to mum and dad and the family. So I know there wasn't that many opportunities in Dublin from an asset management perspective or financial services, in Galway. So I found out that Northern Trust had an office in Limerick and I jumped at the chance, moved home, moved the family down, and I'm working there for the last 6 years. So I'll give you a bit of a background about what Northern Trust do. So there's 3 parts to the business. There's the asset management side, there's the wealth management and the asset servicing. So in Ireland we're predominantly focused on the asset servicing side of things. And at the heart of all our business is our clients. So our clients would be financial institutions, insurance companies, individuals, alternative managers, investment managers, etc. So we've grown quite a lot over the last few years, and we've over 11 trillion under custody and administration and over 1 trillion assets under management at the moment. I know we've won a few awards over the last while as well. We have Fund Administrator of the Year in 2019 from Global Investor, Private Equity Fund Administrator of the Year for the last 3 years as well through the Global Investors. Another few industry awards. We have quite a large focus on our working families and working mothers and flexibility and that, along with other awards, but I'll go into more detail on that later. So Northern is global. There's 26 locations, ranging from our original office in Chicago. We opened in 1889. So we have a presence in Chicago, a large presence in Tempe, right across the world over to Melbourne. We do a lot of work in Manila. We outsource a lot of our work to Manila in the Philippines and also to India. So we have 3 offices in India. We have 1 in Pune and 2 in Bangalore. And we outsource a lot of our work from Ireland to India. So for central bank regulations, we can outsource the preparation of a lot of our work, but it needs to be the oversight and the final sign-off needs to be with the home location here in Ireland. So a small presence is also in Luxembourg, London, Guernsey, etc. But Ireland is the place we're going to talk about today. So we've over 22,000 staff. And in Ireland, there's about 1,700 of those. So we have an office in Dublin and an office in Limerick. And Limerick is the one we're going to talk about because all the growth is happening in Limerick these days. So like I mentioned, I'm from Galway and I am travelling from Galway to Limerick every day, and I get down there quicker than it would take me to get into the city because the traffic is bad these days, I know. So Northern in general is Ireland's 3rd largest administrator, and the services that we provide are fund administration, so there's fund accounting, transfer agency, custody, depository, and we cover a range of products from traditional funds, alternatives, tax transparent funds, multiple types. Our office in Limerick, so we actually opened up in Castle Troy. It's just past UL in 2007 and started off with about 20 partners. And since then we've grown massively. We've over 1,200 people to date. And our talent acquisition team, testament to Aileen, who's from our talent acquisition team here, to get that many people in the door, it's no mean feat. So the building that the majority of us are in at the moment is a beautiful state-of-the-art facility in City East Plaza. It's just off the motorway. It's near, I don't know if you know Limerick, it's near B&Q and Harvey Norman. So literally motorway to motorway from Galway to the office. So that's a big plus for me, I know that. And across Limerick there's a range of departments. I'll touch on a few of them today, but we also have a presence here on our stand out in the hallway from our transfer agency and from our custody departments, but I'll go into fund accounting, financial reporting, business evolution and a few areas like that I work with. But in general in Limerick there's over 50 plus departments. People start in one department, they might get experience there and then decide they'd like to try another area and they can apply for open roles across there. So there's a good chance to develop a career across a number of areas in the one building essentially. This is the block that we're in at the moment, so it's the latest building. We have a gym, we have pool tables, fuzzball, a few different things like that. So people work hard, but they also get a nice open space to work in, state-of-the-art technology, and it's a flexible working space. So people book their desks on a daily basis. A lot of us are working on laptops, and the work cafes are all set up to facilitate agile working. So it's the way forward. Some of the positives for the company, I would say, is I mentioned the flexible working options. So it's an important attraction and retention tool for us from a talent acquisition perspective as well, is in order to get people in the door, like myself, people that want to move back from Dublin or from other areas to move back home to have more affordable housing. We have a lot of flexible working options in place. I have 2 small kids, and I travel to Limerick 3 days a week, and I work from home 2 days, so it makes it very doable. But even within our fund administration building, they're from all levels, from graduates up to seniors, can do at least 2 days a month from home. And then the more senior you get, from team leader and above, the majority are doing at least 1 day a week from home. So it certainly breaks up the week, and it makes that bit of extra balance to your life. I'll touch on the lab later, but also we have a big focus on our people, and this for me is key. So what I don't want to see is people coming in the door and just plugging away, doing their job, not being satisfied. I want to see a focus on developing that person and playing to their strengths and giving them the best possible chance in their career. So we have regular one-to-ones with our partners. We have to have our finger on the pulse, and if they're happy in their job, if they're not, can we facilitate and move to another area? Can we slightly change it up so that we're playing to their skills, so that people are coming in and they're being as satisfied and as engaged as they possibly can and getting the best opportunities within there. Again, we have a big focus on well-being, so we do a lot of meditation and mindfulness. We have a partnership with the PEP program, which they're wonderful. They have great contacts. We had Dr. Niall Moynihan. I don't know if you know him from Operation Transformation. He came in to do speaker events. We have an app on the phone where we have games with our team games for who gets the most steps, that type of stuff. So there's a fun element to it. We work hard, but there's a fun element. And then obviously there's different content on the app for health and well-being and that. So just an additional piece. But what a lot of people take advantage of is our educational assistance program. We have a lot of people studying for their accountancy exams and for their chartered financial analyst exams. So if you find something that you're interested in from an educational perspective and it's appropriate to the job, then you come to your manager and see, will the company help support that? And I know a lot of people take advantage of this particular piece. We have our referral programs, so if you know anyone that wants to join us, you can refer them on the system and get a lump sum. And then the training I'm going to elaborate on later, because that's quite important. So I think for Northern, we have a lot of mentoring in place. I'm participating myself, but we like to see people networking and engaging across the business. So you can be assigned a mentor from another business area that can give you a bit of insight on how to improve in your career and give you that independent view. So there's a strong mentoring program in place there. And from a corporate social responsibility perspective, every partner has the right to take 2 paid days volunteering. So we partner a lot with St. Vincent de Paul, the Simon community. We're also working with DOCAS for autism, and we organise different volunteering events, and people can leave the office for a day, meet other people from Northern Trust and just contribute back to society. We also have a big focus on diversity and inclusion. So I know from our perspective we talk a lot about gender diversity, but we also need to look at different opinions, different perspectives, different abilities. We're working with people coming straight from school, people with autism. We're partnering with specialist RNA who specialise in placing people with autism in the workforce. So again, playing to people's strengths and their abilities and what they can contribute. Then our business resource councils, actually, they organise some really interesting events and speaker events throughout the year. We have a Women in Leadership, we have an LGBT, we have a Disability Business Resource Council, and also Working Families. Then we have a dedicated compensation team which analyse market data regularly to make sure that we're competitive and the benefits are all very, very positive. I know that's Aileen's area, so we can elaborate on that later if you need be. I'll go in. Sorry, is there any questions so far? That's just Northern as a company, and then I'll go into some of the specific roles. Okay. So I said I work in fund administration, so that incorporates a number of different areas. There's fund accounting, financial reporting, performance fees, corporate actions, new business, business evolution, all in the one building. And that part of Northern is about 400 people. So I work across that area, and I'll elaborate on a few of the areas. So fund accounting is probably the biggest part of that. For those that don't know of fund accounting, essentially it's calculating the value of a fund. So the people that work in this area would be quite analytical, deadline-driven, attention to detail, numerical type of character. And essentially they're making sure that the price of the fund is correct before the investor can invest in it. So you can imagine it needs to be on time, accurate, and they have to analyse all the underlying information to make sure the transactions and the assets are all correctly priced and any expenses are deducted. So essentially that's the type of role, but there's a lot more to it than that. But fund accounting in general has a large presence in Ireland. In particular, we've over 1,600 funds actually at the moment, and that's a little out of date. But we have presence in Ireland and in the UK, Luxembourg, Switzerland. But our other main presence I mentioned is in India. And we've an exciting project ongoing at the moment where we acquired UBS as a business. So we're trying to integrate the UBS funds and platform and people into our own business. So there's a lot of people working on this change program. So using their business knowledge and their technical knowledge to help integrate that business. So Limerick Fund Accounting has over 170 people, and within that there's different operational teams, new business, corporate actions, business evolution. The other 70 are based in Dublin, but the majority of the growth is in Limerick, so we'll focus on that. And as a career with the fund accounting, you start in fund accounting, you might really be enjoying it, so you might continue with your career and progress up the levels because there's multiple opportunities within that department. Or maybe you decide you'd like to have a go at being a relationship manager. So we see a lot of people that move from the fund accounting space to a client-facing space where they are able to face off with the client and answer any questions and use that knowledge. So it's very useful because as a fund accountant, you'll work with a lot of the different departments throughout the company, so it's a good experience. So you'll work with transfer agency, and we have Sharon is joining us later. She'll be at the stand if you want to know what the transfer agency do. But essentially, they look after the investments and the subscriptions and redemptions in and out of the fund. There's more to it than that. There's custody. So James is with us as well out at the stand, and he can elaborate on that area of the business. But essentially, they look after the safekeeping of the assets of the fund. Then we also have the pricing areas, the expenses. The fund accountants also get to speak directly with the investment manager, so attend client calls, and that's invaluable experience and helps flesh out CVs as well. And then they'll work directly with the financial reporting teams. I'm going to elaborate a bit on the training because I think for me this is important if you're joining a new company. So there's two types of training that we provide. There's our functional training teams. So these are dedicated resources just to train you on fund accounting or financial reporting or the different areas. And as you join, whether you're a new starter or whether you are coming from another industry and just joining us fairly fresh, they will give you systems and theory knowledge of the job. So I like to say that it makes people less nervous joining a new company and making the leap if you know that you're going to get the training that you need from day one. So basically our functional training team will be ex-people from the business, and they will elaborate on what you need to know and flesh out the training. If you want to do different stages, there's actually a nice career progression path within that which we call the I2I, where people will attend specific training and then sit an assessment and then get promoted to the next level, study for the next level and get promoted again. So it helps you get that succession to the next level and make sure that you are progressing in your career. So functional training, as I said, is more theory and systems based, but we have also recently created our Team Edge, which is to educate, develop, grow and engage people. So this is more of a soft skills complementary training team. So when people join, they will attend Team Edge for a few weeks, then go out and do the job, then come back into Team Edge and go back in and out. So it's essentially what they do is it's a safe space. It's like an incubation training team where people can ask questions and learn why they're doing something as opposed to how to do it. So I know a lot of people can do their job and just plug and play and not really know why they're doing it, not really understand it and not really be able to troubleshoot if anything comes their way. So I think it adds confidence to people when they're doing their role. They know why they're doing it. As part of that program as well, there's a big focus on our soft skills. So we do training on behaviours, culture, emotional intelligence, as well as the technical aspects. So that's been quite successful for us as well, and it makes people a little bit more confident and engaged as they move into their next phase of their career. It also gives people opportunities to network across the business and meet really senior people attending or coming to visit us from different locations and to present to them and give them experience and build up their confidence. So that's fund accounting. I'll lightly touch on a couple of other areas within fund administration. So we have our client expenses team. There's about 20 people there, and they focus on processing director fee payments and filing VAT returns and payments. And we see a lot of people moving from client expenses into fund accounting or vice versa. So what we try to do is, if people want to try another area, we'll send them on a short-term assignment, see if they like it. If they don't, they can come back to their original job. So you're getting to try out different areas without fully committing. But we call it cross-pollination, so we try and bring the knowledge from one area to another, and then building that network and building those relationships to be able to pick up the phone if you need to ask someone a question and to collaborate better. So we have a lot of people working in client expenses that used to work in fund accounting and vice versa. Our financial reporting team, so we have about 60 here in Limerick, and they prepare the financial statements, etc. And we see a lot of people doing their accountancy exams, so they're getting paid their salary, but they're still getting through their accountancy exams. And we work very closely with those, actually. They work very closely with the fund accountants. So probably our more exciting, newer area is our lab. So, excuse me. We have an EMEA Innovation Lab. So this is part of our business evolution team. So you know the way the world is going these days, it's all about efficiencies, technology, automation. So this is what they do. They're all about the robots and artificial intelligence, and I don't know exactly what the programmers do in there, but they're all technology based. But essentially within this area, we have a varied team of agile project managers, scrum masters, business analysts, programmers, and then people from the day-to-day operational teams. They sit down together, they figure out, okay, that particular task is quite time-consuming and inefficient, and they try to develop it so that they'll automate a robot to run it overnight so that someone comes in the morning. They're making the jobs more interesting, so that they're analysing the data as opposed to just doing it. So if there was a very manual, repetitive task that people weren't enjoying doing, they will look at that process and get it over the line, automate it so that they don't have to do that anymore. So it's good from a cost perspective, but it's also good from an interesting job perspective. So you don't want to be coming in and doing the same thing every day. So what we're trying to make our jobs is making them more interesting and more analytical. So the lab team, yes, within that as well, they also have the BPA services. So there's people who have business analyst qualifications, and also people that work on our client and operational change. There's our robots. I'll just recap on the things that attracted me to Northern Trust. So like I was saying, I just wanted to be able to make that move home, to have an affordable house, to be able to grow a global career. So for me that was important because I spent a long time trying to grow a career in Dublin, and I did want to make the move home and be near family and that. So I think what I like about Northern is really it has a lot of opportunity. It focuses on the person. It focuses on their well-being, on their progression. And making sure that they're getting the best possible chance, playing to their strengths and moving them into another area if they're not really loving what they're doing or it's not really their forte, to see is there something else they can do across the business, because we're large now and we're growing and there's lots of opportunity there. And for me, as I said, really the flexible working is key for me to stay with the company and show loyalty, and I know Aileen is the same, to be able to balance that family life as well as growing your career in a global company. So, any questions? Okay, well our stand is literally 2 rows out. Yeah, hi. Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Okay. No, we're looking for a variety because there's so many departments across there. I suppose my area is more focused towards accounting qualifications, but it's absolutely not necessary. So, like we said, there's training for the majority of people, but there's plenty of other areas that people would can apply to as well. So I know online we have a lot of our opportunities advertised, but as well we're taking names today and talking to people directly as well to see if there's any specific area you would be interested in. But there's over 50 departments down in Limerick, so it's a variety of qualifications. Like we have a legal presence, we have, what else, did I forget any particular area? Yeah. Yeah, I know we have an engineer in our business evolution lab actually. He is working on the project management side, so his background is in finance or financial services, but he's using those transferable skills to get projects over the line. You know. Yeah. Any other questions? Well, I know it's easier to ask face to face sometimes, so feel free to come over to us on the stand there and we'd be delighted to talk to you. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.